and welcome to all you lovely Aries. My name is Gordon and we're going to be looking at the astrology trends for you lovely Aries for the month of April 2015. And if you are new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, then please press the button down, the red button down in the corner there, and this will get the videos to you on a regular basis. We do still update on a weekly basis, but this is giving the trend for the month of April 2015. Right, okay, so introductions out of the way, let's get cracking on. Where are we going to start? Well, first of all, we're going to look at your ruling planet, which is, of course, Mars. And Mars this month starts to form a very interesting aspect with another planet that is very close to your heart, which is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter, of course, is the planet of plenty, is also the planet that likes to give. And when we look for Jupiter within your chart, that tells you where the activity is going. Now, there's a couple of key events going on here. The first is that Mars forms, as I said, a challenging aspect to Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is at this moment in time sat in your fifth house, which is a very important placing because it is there in the fifth house. We're looking there at speculation, we're looking at new relationships. It's the fun house. Now, when it forms a challenging aspect with your ruling planet, which is Mars, Mars sits in your second house, which is more to do with concerning your money, earnings, and that kind of thing. Now, this is what they call a closing aspect. So as Mars moves, it's going to improve. So what starts off as a challenge gets better as we move through April and into May. Now, Jupiter starts to go what they call direct on the 12th of April. At the moment, it's in retrograde, slowing, starting to go forward. Now, in retrograde, it tends to hold things up. When it goes direct, then we start to get more action and things starting to move forward for you and improve. Now, as I've said, what more or less starts as a challenge tends to get as a more of an improving situation as we go through the month of April for you. Now, this can certainly be around business, this can be around any form of speculation, it can be around relationships as well. So those of you wanting to find new relationships, wanting to start something new. Now, Mars also gets support from Pluto, which is, interestingly enough, that is also going to start to slow and go retro. It's a much bigger planet, much slower moving, so the energy is more profound from Pluto. And when Mars gets support from Pluto, the two do go together quite well. Pluto, obviously the new ruler of Scorpio, before it was took over from Mars. Now, what does this mean? Well, what it's saying is it's calling for change and asking you really to rise to the challenge. So as you go through April, you wouldn't not necessarily find obstacles in your way. There's more of a feeling of finding challenges in your way that you need to rise, meet, and successfully overcome. Now, you will find obstacles removed from your path. This can be quite an interesting month for you because we've also got the lunar eclipse, which for those of you Aries that are going to be affected, this will occur in your seventh house. So it can be quite an interesting, quite a major month where you may find that you are confronted by unexpected things that you thought, gracious, that's really caught me off balance, and you think in a negative to start with, but you'll find that the unexpected turns out to be very beneficial for you. So quite an exciting month. Now, the beginning of April also sees the Sun in contact with Mercury. Now, the Sun is again one of your important planets. Certainly for those of you born sort of during the second third of Aries, you will be more affected by this. And what happens here is we find that the Sun comes in junction with Mercury. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, it's the planet of the mind, it's the planet of communication. And this again, bear this in mind because it can be quite an important trend for you. When you find a conjunction, first of all, what happens, especially with the sun, it's going to invigorate your communication skills. It's going to invigorate your mind. It's going to make you want to do things, come up with new ideas. But when it is so close to the sun, what you can find is that it becomes too overwhelming, and this can show itself in a way where either you become a little bit too confused as to which way is the right way to go, or you can find that somebody or something is a little bit too overbearing, so there needs to be a little bit of a delay in making a decision, because this comes in two parts. You get the sun conjuncting, what they call conjuncting, coming very close to this planet, and it can cause, and it's such an intensity that, as I said, you get blinded. But as it goes really into the core, as it gets closer and closer, you can start then to get a road to Damascus moment. You see things clearly, and that is the time to be making real decisions. So it's more towards mid-April that there is clarity around the situation that necessarily at the start seems a little bit cloudy, and you wonder where it's come from, and B, how you're going to be moving on from it. Towards the end of the month, we see Mercury and Mars meet, and this forms a very, very favourable aspect to Jupiter. And as I said at the beginning, what may appear as it's going to be a very busy month for you, Aries, and what may appear as a bit of a challenge to begin with works out exceedingly well. And this can bring a whole load of solutions to problems that you have seen accrue since the beginning of the year. In essence, April for you, Aries, is a month for turning. It's a month where you start to see, as they would say, you start to separate the wood from the trees. Aries, have a fantastic, wonderful, wonderful, enlightened month, and I look forward to speaking to you again very, very soon.